Oh, hi there, and thanks for tuning in to another match cast by GuildSource. I'm your host, Zael, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're not going to have our pre-match visual that we normally have, simply because we've got a lot of content that I want to get out. We got a lot of footage and stuff, and instead of taking all the time to do them, I'm just going to get a lot of this content out, a lot of these match casts, because in the end, that's what we really care about, I think. But we're not going to do away with it completely. We're still going to do it at the times when there's something like a really big game, and that way it's got all the fanfare and all the builds and everything. But we're still going to have builds there in the description, so let's get into this match, learn what we can, and enjoy. Also, Rankshirts is not here today, so it'll be just me casting for you. For today's Bloodsport, we've got GuildSource versus Get Stomped. Similar names, it's GuSo versus GS. When I picked GuSo, I actually didn't want GS. GuSo sounded cooler to me, so it works out there. They're all lining up, gets GuSo here at the door, and they got all 5 at one door, so they're all coming together, not using the other one, so they're not going straight for Clock Tower necessarily. One person's going to go to home base there. Looks like Epo's going to, that's his role as an engineer. Heading this way, oh, they encounter a thief from Get Stomped, but he's going to hit his oh shit button because he's like, okay, 4 of them. They're using a roundabout way of going up to Clock Tower. That's interesting to me. There is one person, it looks like, going to the opponent's Treb, Get Stomped's Treb. That's probably the Elementalist on the staff. He's going to be using the staff Fire 5 in order to take that down quickly. There was one Elementalist from Get Stomped up here, so you're wondering where the Get Stomped team is, because they're not at Clock Tower, which is arguably one of the most important points. Maybe they're taking down GuSo's Treb, not sure. Can't see from here, but you can see the Rain of Fire in the back there taking down the Treb pretty quickly. The hitbox on the Treb is pretty big, so those meteors can do a lot of damage, and that's a very good way of taking that down. I'm glad to be seeing that. This thief here is coming from Windmill because he looks like he was the skirmisher, tried to take it down, but Epo did a really good job, and this intercepted warrior here, Raaar is playing the warrior, gonna intercept him, and this thief thought that he could steal him, do what he could, but he's gonna push him into the barn and execution style stomp him. Guardian gonna take the suicide point, Get Stomped's suicide point over there on Mansion, and gonna root him. He's going to get on the point, try to neutralize it. Does Moa him. He's going to try for some of that burst. Blurred Frenzy on the 2. Didn't hit that hard. I'm not seeing as much damage as I would think that you'd want to on the Moa. Plus, Moa would be probably a better time to use near the end of the HP bar of the Guardian. So I don't know if that was the most effective use of that. The Guardian is back up to HP, full HP, but the Mesmer has stayed at full HP as well. So he's actually doing a pretty good job of taking down his HP. But he is pretty defensive, so it looks like he might just... No, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to choose to stay here because I don't know if he can win this battle. Maybe if he had enough time, he could. Look, there's an illusionary unload doing a good amount of damage there. Chaos Field goes down. He does have a bunch of boons that he used on the Save Me. The Guardian had a lot of boons there, and I think Nullfield went down to take down some of those, so good strategy there. But it's not going to do it. Going to leave there, needed elsewhere. Back at Clock Tower, there is a good skirmish here. Looks like the Get Stomped has their Elementalist here for some damage. An Engineer right there, who I'm assuming is Sustain Engineer. And but GuSo does have a Guardian and a Warrior here, both of which are Hammer, so there's going to be a lot of knockdowns, and I believe they're utility traded and utility skilled for stability where possible, and so they're going to be really good about keeping that point, so I don't know if I can see a lot of the ability to take that down. Someone on the Treb here, this Mesmer, Yggdrassill, is taken down, getting some good shots. He got a 3-hit there and then a 2-hit, I believe. Warrior Emo QT from Get Stomped comes up to take it down. Oh my gosh, look at the Treb's HP was already like at 0. That's interesting. I've never seen where the Treb was just like at low HP and he came in and just annihilated it, used the Great Sword mobility to just get out of town. That was pretty cool. I don't know if it was an extremely good strategy though, because Emo QT was at Clock Tower and he left Clock Tower in order to do that. The node did go neutralized from GuSo, so that was pretty good, but in the end they're cleaning up due to lack of resources on Get Stomped's part. So, interesting strategies that are being employed for sure. It didn't seem to work out for Get Stomped in this case because it's going to go back into Red's favor, GuSo's favor, and they've done pretty good about holding these 2 points. Windmill hasn't had a problem, and Clock Tower has been pretty stably in GuSo's control. Emo QT is going to skirmish though and try to take this point as well without much help, so I'm questioning exactly what the strategy is here because he's going to go down. Shield block is probably going to, or shield stance is probably going to come up. But like, what was he gonna, how to take this point? Now there's an Elementalist, but it's about timing the strikes, showing up at the same time and being a force rather than just filtering through and getting stomped. Oh, and of course, we're going to see a classy move used here, the F4 ability on the Mesmer, Distortion to get the invulnerability stomp there. Assured stomp, it's really hard to block that, so nice to see that being employed. So look at this engineer. I mean, there's a big bomb there knocking him out. So he does have a lot of knockbacks, but I'm not seeing as many as needed. I mean, with the Guardian and Warrior setup, double hammer on GuSo's part, you're going to need a lot of knockbacks in order to take them down. You have to time it in between the stability, and I'm not seeing like throw mine on the engineer, which although you're not supposed to, you don't take that a lot, but like that's a knockback. And another knockback you could take is the thumper turret and overcharging it. But he does have the shield on the 4, and he does have the big bomb. So I mean, that's 2 knockbacks. I would think that in Kylo you'd want a little bit more knockbacks. I don't think that Get Stomped is necessarily ready for such a hardy team like GuSo's doing right now with their build, where they're just not going to be able to get knocked out with the stability and their own knockbacks. So there's a big combat here at the defense point for GuSo, though. They're going to try it again, but it's just not going to work out for them. They only had 2 people here to try it out this time. I just don't see that their attack power is there. GuSo's doing really good about being just perfectly defensive, because this point's all about knockback, and then Epo was there at the beginning to take that point, and it's going to take a lot to really take him down, especially with the mobility. If you can think of from Clock Tower, got to think about the map style. They can jump straight out of Clock Tower, and it's an easy run straight there, especially if you're highly mobile like an Elementalist or a Thief or something of the sort. So yeah, I mean, it's sort of a hard thing to do, especially when you built the way that GuSo has with the defense, and you're not able to take that point. And this engineer is just rocking the defense. He is staying alive extremely well. Look at that perfectly timed big bomb coming out, the low HP. He's got max regen probably from his turret, doing really good about staying alive. They cannot get him down, but once again, it's just not doing anything because the strikes aren't timed perfectly, really. And this Warrior, Emo QT, is just not having it. He's the only one there, and he's going to get the Moa off, but he's just running away like a bird. That's awesome. So they've controlled this point, really not having a problem with defending it. Their build is just so well right now. So this is something you can take away, that you have to prioritize those 2 things, stability and knockback. At this point, it's just crucial. I know this is pretty beginner, but knocking them off the side of it, not only is the node smaller, but they have to run back, which means they're not attacking, and you can neutralize it. It just is so all important at this point. Now the setup that this MESMER sort of uses is, I mean, it's staff, sword, pistol, but what you can do with that is you can really set up some phantasm damage with the stuns and then immobilize either on the pistol 5 or the sword 3. You can send in your clone and then warp in, immobilize, and then do your Blurred Frenzy as your illusionary duelist is doing his illusionary unload. And it can do a lot of damage. It's really good, and that's why this MESMER is really good skirmisher and brings a lot of utility in addition to being that damage and that roamer capability. So that's what we see a lot from here, as well as using Chaos Field, standing in it, using the 2 to warp out, giving yourself Chaos Armor. That's some of the strategies that this MESMER employs. As well as just that Distortion Stomp is really good. It's a high cooldown, but it's like one of those guaranteed stomps pretty much, unless the enemy gets stealthed or something like that while they're in the fallen state. A big battle here. It looks like a lot of people have showed up. Goes down to chase this Thief, try to get the finalized stomp there. The Thief does go down. It's in the down state, so that's 1 person to clean up. They've all seemed to have gone down. Just high damage. It looks like there's a rain of fire on the Get Stomp's part, so that's a good job for them to have been doing that. It's a really good place for it, but it's just not working out for them once again. Super high damage. Really good job on GuSo's part for just maintaining that team synergy. A lot of heals going around, a lot of just knockbacks. They can't even get in that damage. It's the end of the game now, 490 to 218, so wow, a big gap there. It did go pretty quick. Why? Because they can maintain that middle point a lot, and this is the end. They get that stomp, and this is the end of the game. So we have a tactics and replay that we're going to do for all of these fights, but I'm probably going to group them into a weekly segment, so I'll make a tactics and replay for multiple battles in the week and then do it up, and so that should be really good. So stay tuned for that. I hope you learned something, and I hope you enjoyed. There's more to come, and I'll talk to you guys later. See ya. Oh, and here's a link to the tactics and replay video when it's up. You can click it here. There's some previous matches. If you haven't seen them, click that. And subscribe if you want to be notified to future videos. We like it. We love it. If you don't want to, then F you. JK, see you later for real this time.